Ladies and gentlemen, today it's the 2025 tier list of PC handhelds. Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel, or if this is your first time here, thanks for checking out the channel. If you end up liking this video, there's a subscribe button down there, a like, comments, all that kind of stuff are available for you, so we'd certainly appreciate that. With that out of the way, let's get on to the 2025 PC handheld tier list. Okay, so before we start ranking all of these PC handhelds, let's get into the ground rules here. Number one, this is my tier list, okay? Mine, not yours. Yours would obviously be different. You're going to disagree with some of the things I say, and that's awesome, and I want to hear about those in the comments down below. So let me know why you're right and I'm wrong about any of these particular handhelds and where I rank them. I think this is going to be a super fun video, and I'm really interested to see what you guys think of my thoughts, and I'm really interested to see what you guys think if you had to rank them yourself. If you want, it'd be really fun if you ranked all of these in your own tier list. Drop those in the comments. That'd be super fun to go through those as well. Okay, so before we get into actually putting these all on the map here, what PC handhelds are we looking at? All right, before we get into all the details, all you enthusiast bros in the chat, I see you on the keyboards already. Just knock it off, okay? There's not going to be any of this PS Vita looking PC gaming handheld monstrosity that has the tethered battery with the rope to the battery thing like it's a freaking Apple Vision Pro or something like that. Look, if I want a cumbersome gaming experience, I will use the Apple Vision Pro. What the? So I'm in the US, so I'm kind of looking at all of the PC handhelds that are regularly available to me, like if I walked into, say, Best Buy, or I looked on like Amazon or Walmart or something like that. So it's pretty much going to be the Lenovo Legion series of devices, ROG's Xbox series of devices, as the older Ally versions don't seem to be available brand new anywhere, at least not that I looked at before creating this tier list. So those are not going to be included on the list. You can certainly still find those available like secondhand and things like that. Okay, so the first one we're going to look at today is the one that's really near and dear to my heart. It really kind of spearheaded my love of PC handhelds. It's a great device. It's been my daily driver for a little bit over a year before kind of recently getting dethroned, and we're talking about the Lenovo Legion Go 1. So the Legion Go 1, it has a Z1 Extreme, has 16 gigabytes of RAM, has an 8.8 inch LCD display, has detachable controllers. You can use it in tabletop mode, so you can use it like a Switch kind of a deal. You can dock it, you can use it handheld, all those kinds of things. It's a really great device, super versatile. I really love the big expansive screen, and this is an LCD screen that really is kind of like top tier in terms of LCD screens, at least the ones without VRR support. This one does not have VRR, so that's why it's going to be knocked a little bit down here on this tier list. And some other things that I have going against it are the battery life is absolutely atrocious. It has the worst battery life of any PC handheld on the market, as far as at least that I've tested anyway. For me, it's not a super huge deal. My typical handheld gaming sessions are usually like 2 hours at most, and I have like an Anker 10,000 milliamp hour battery, whatever, that I usually keep with me, and I just plug it in. It's not a big deal to me. But if you're on the go a lot and you don't want to carry a bunch of crap, that is definitely something to consider. The second thing is that it only has 16 gigabytes of RAM, which is really kind of beginning to be a little bit more detrimental in terms of like newer AAA games. It's making them a little bit harder to run because you're a little bit RAM constrained, and this is still running traditional Windows, even though Microsoft said the full screen experience was available for everybody. It's not still available for everybody, and it's currently still not available on the Legion Go 1 either. Of course, we all know that there are methods to get it on there. I'm just saying for the general public, if you're just updating Windows, it's not going to be there. Okay, so where are we going to put the Legion Go 1? We're going to throw it right into the C category. All right, our next item up for bids is, the next item we're ranking is the Legion Go S, the Windows variant with 16 gigabytes of RAM and Z2 Go. Now, this particular model is kind of, there's 4 different Legion Go S models that we're going to be ranking in today's video. And this is kind of like, in my opinion, the worst one that you could get, because it's running Windows, it only has 16 gigabytes of RAM, and it has the Z2 Go. Now, does that mean that nobody should buy it? No, of course not. There's still a market for this, and there's still a lot of people that have this and enjoy it. But for me, the 16 gigabytes of RAM and the running Windows with the Z2 Go, it's going to make it struggle a little bit. Things it's got going for it, obviously the ergonomic design is really nice, one of the best on the market, not the best. It also has the 8-inch 120 hertz display that has VRR support for 48 frames and above, which is also super nice. So we're going to throw this model in the E category in the very bottom. This is kind of like, if I had all of these handhelds to recommend, this would be the absolute very last one that I would say go out and buy. Okay, so that brings us to its kind of sibling, twin brother, if you want to call it, the exact same model. So Legion Go S with the Z2 Go chip with 16 gigabytes of RAM, except it's running SteamOS instead of Windows. And for that alone, it's going to get at least 2 tiers above, in my opinion, because basically what this is kind of like your Steam Deck Plus is what I would call it. So like if you're looking at the Steam Deck LCD at regular price at $399 and you see this one go on sale, I think it was on sale recently for $449. You know, for me, that extra $50 is going to give me an inch bigger screen. It's going to give me VRR support from 48 hertz and up. It's going to be a little bit better of a processor. And you're still going to have the very same SteamOS that runs on the Steam Deck here. So you're going to get the benefit of like the really nice sleep-wake, the console-like experience, which is super important to me. And you're also going to get, the ability to play your entire Steam library that you would on the Steam Deck on this device, no problem at all. So we're going to throw this one in the C category. Okay, so that brings us to the higher end models of the Legion Go S's. So we're going to be looking at the Z1 Extreme models with 32 gigabytes of RAM. First one we're going to look at here is the Windows variant. So this one is typically a little bit more expensive than the SteamOS version. Typically, they're about $130 more. Now you're going to have, they're doing really weird stuff with the sales on the Legion Go S models. Like you'll have the SteamOS version on sale, but not the Windows version on sale. Or you'll have the Windows version on sale, but not the SteamOS version on sale. So at any given time, one of these might be cheaper than the other one. It's kind of weird what they're doing with them, honestly, but for the Windows model, this has got a really good chip. Z1 Extreme, I think, is still really good. It's really kind of holding up well over time, especially when you compare it to the Z2 Extreme. It's just a little bit slower in terms of the top end at the higher TDPs. Of course, once you get down to the lower TDPs, that's where it is not quite as efficient. So it's going to, chug through a little bit more battery, and it's not going to run really as well at lower TDPs as that Z2 Extreme, which a lot of times on a Z2 Extreme, whether I'm in like a higher TDP or a lower TDP, I'm not noticing really a whole lot of a difference. So it's super efficient, that Z2E at the lower TDPs. So the Windows, the 32 gig Z1 Extreme model, I do think it's a good device. It is really kind of premium price. It's usually running like $979 at the regular prices. So because of that, it kind of holds it back just a little bit in the tier list. Still really great ergonomics. I'm not a super big fan of the white on the handhelds. Some people like it. Obviously, yeah, of course you could throw skins on it, whatever. Obviously, D-Brand has really great skins that you can just totally cover it up, or any other skin company of your choosing pretty much has stuff for it. Legion Go S is a pretty popular line, so let's go ahead and throw this one in the B tier. The B tier. Okay, so that brings us to the final Legion Go S. This is the SteamOS model running the Z1 Extreme, 32 gigabytes of RAM, the whole bells and whistles. You still got the 8-inch display, still 120 hertz, still the VRR window from 48 to 120. This one is really kind of like the one that I would recommend. It is the one that I got as well. It does retail for $8.99 US at the regular price. I recently picked it up for $6.29 during Black Friday weekend, which was a really smoking deal. I think it's an unbelievable value at that price. It's really making it kind of like hard for me to want to return that one, if you know what I mean, because it is a really good deal and these are not getting any cheaper. The price point, I think, especially on sale, really great deal. $8.99 is, you've got, if you're looking at buying it at regular price, you're starting to get closer to the higher end devices like your Legion Go 2s and your MSI Claw A8 AI Pluses and, kind of that upper echelon of device. So on sale, I think this is a really great steal. I think it's on sale right now, at least when I checked at the time of this video, which is the week before Christmas. It was on sale at Best Buy for $7.49, which I think is still a pretty good deal. So where do we put this one in the tier list? I'm going to put it right A, our first A of the tier list. So it takes the current lead. All right, so the next one up is the, and this will probably be a controversial one. I'm not even going to lie about it. This is the Xbox ROG Ally, the white model. Now, this retails for $5.99. This is the one that everybody online, if you post that you're interested in it or whatever, you can pretty much guarantee you're going to see a comment that says, just get a Steam Deck, just get a Steam Deck, just get a Steam Deck. Well, here, I'm going to tell you, if you saw any of the recent Avatar Frontiers of Pandora videos on the channel, Steam Deck, it's not running Avatar Frontiers of Pandora. Not in a really playable way anyway, that's for sure. But the Xbox ROG Ally, if you really need to, you could play it on that. And I think that's a pretty big win for the Xbox ROG Ally. Now, what does this device have going for it? The ergonomics are awesome. They are top notch. They are probably the most comfortable for me outside of the Steam Deck in terms of like holding it. When you grab those handles, your thumbs and everything just kind of line up perfectly. So you can, and it's super lightweight. Of course, it only has a 7-inch screen, so it's not like crazy big or anything like that. And I think that is the biggest downside for me, is that 7-inch screen, too small. Hey, I'm not getting any younger. These eyes ain't getting any better. So I need a little bit of a bigger screen. And there's plenty of room. If you've seen that device, there's big honking bezels on the top and bottom. So there's definitely room in there for a bigger screen. They opted not to put one in. And so for that, I would definitely kind of knock it down a peg or two. But generally speaking, if you're thinking about this device, you just need to kind of know what you're going to get, in terms of what, just to kind of like temper your expectations. You're not going to be able to play every game on it, especially new AAA games. Some of them you might be able to play. Some are going to run pretty good. Some are going to run really bad. It just depends, so it's just kind of like up in the air. But hey, if you're just looking for, an indie machine, 2D games, lighter weight 3D games, that you want to play, backlog type stuff, your PS4, Xbox 360, Xbox One era type games, those are all going to really pretty much play great on this. And of course you can, you can remote play, you can GeForce Now, you can do a lot of different things with any of these to kind of extend the life of these devices if you really want to, with game streaming, which is another thing people hate on. I personally think it's really great, especially if you have GeForce Now. It is awesome. So the Xbox ROG Ally, it's a device that I've kind of become quite fond of, and probably one of its bigger defenders here in the space. So I like the device. Now, as far as the tier list goes, it can only go so high because of that chip is just not very powerful. That 7-inch screen is a pretty huge drawback. The build quality on it does feel quite nice. Felt even nicer than my Xbox ROG Ally X. I don't know why, but all that said, let's put this in the C tier. Okay, so let's talk about that Xbox ROG Ally X. It's pretty much exactly the same. It's almost identical to the Xbox ROG Ally in terms of its physical shape and size, but its build is different. And I'm not sure, I would actually kind of be interested in going to see some teardowns to see what's different inside, because my $599 white model Xbox ROG Ally just feels solid, nice, lightweight, no creaking, no sounds, none of that kind of stuff. But the Xbox ROG Ally, and you can go back and watch it on the unboxing video if you want, just on that right side, kind of around the buttons, like depending on how you grab it, or if you push it in a certain way or squeeze it a certain way, you get like just a lot of creaking and squeaking. And for a device that's $999 US, that's, in my opinion, totally unacceptable. Now, I'm gonna put it probably pretty high on this tier list because I'm kind of exclude that build quality issue, because, hey, maybe it's just me and a few other people. I have seen that quite a bit online, so I don't know how widespread it is, or if they've gone back and fixed it. Maybe they have. Hopefully they have. But we're going to put this pretty high on the tier list because it is a really great device. So it's 1080p screen, 120 hertz, 48 to 120 VRR window. It's a 7-inch screen, so it does have pretty big bezels on the top and bottom, which I do not like. Super ergonomic, super lightweight, and that Z2 Extreme really hums on this thing. It's 16:9, so your aspect ratio with your 1080p, you actually do get a little bit better performance versus Z2E devices that have 16:10 screens, because those are like, on the Legion Go 2, that's like 1200p versus 1080p. That does make a difference in performance, and people kind of don't really think about that. So the 16:9 in terms of performance is a little bit of an advantage. So this is a super powerful device. I think this is going to be one that will last you quite a long time. Excellent battery life. That Z2 Extreme is super efficient, so you can even play that on lower TDPs if you want some better, even better battery life on that. So with all that being said, Xbox ROG Ally is going to the B tier. Okay, so let's talk about Legion Go 2, and it has a few different variants and one really interesting variant that I'm kind of excited to talk about for the first time on the channel. But the first one up we're going to look at is the Z2 16GB model that retails in the US for $1099. And this is the one that I have the hardest time recommending if you're looking at the Legion Go 2. But I will say, I do have an argument to sort of justify that $1099 price if you compare it to the Legion Go 1. So like if you're somebody that's looking at the Legion Go 1 versus the Legion Go 2, $749 to $1099. So you're talking about a $350 price difference. So like, what do you get for that $350 in that scenario? You get the same size screen, but you get OLED, and it is a beauty. It is really one of the best OLED screens that you can get, because it has a 30 to 144 hertz VRR window, which is truly transformative. I mean, it is the standout game-changing feature of the Legion Go 2 that does not get talked about enough, because a lot of newer AAA games, you just are going to be typically running in, you'll find yourself in that 30 to 48 FPS window a lot if you're somebody who, like me, a traditional console player who looks for good image quality and tries to balance that with the FPS just to get a nice smooth experience that looks really good too. So you'll find yourself in that window a lot. And on some of these other PC handhelds that have the 48 to 120 VRR window, a lot of games you just kind of lose out on VRR because you can't keep the FPS above 48. So that's a big plus that this one has going for it. The other things that it has going for it, obviously, detachable controllers, just like the Legion Go 1. So tabletop mode, you could dock it, you could play it handheld. But again, going back to that versus the Legion Go 1, that $350, you get, basically, it's almost the same chip, but you'll get a little bit better battery life. So you get better battery life, you'll get the OLED, you'll get that VRR window. And $350, it is still kind of steep for those features, but once you get your hands on it, you're like, oh, yeah, that screen is awesome. So where do I put this one? I've been kind of talking nice about some of the features, but really that's a feature of the screen itself and not specifically this variant. So this is the Z2 model with the 16 gigabytes of RAM for $1,100 US. Are you out of your minds? That's ridiculous. So because of that, we're gonna kick you down a few notches to the D tier. Okay, so this next variant is the one I'm really excited to talk about, and this is exclusive to Costco. Yes, this is exclusive to Costco. So if you're not familiar, Costco here in the U.S. is a like warehouse, chain that what they like to do is they like to contract specific SKUs that are unique to them only. That way they can price it where they want to price it and not have to worry about price matching or anything like that. And they really hit a pretty compelling variant here. That same $1099 for the Legion Go Z2 16GB, you could get at Costco this variant, which is the Z2, but with 32 gigabytes of RAM for that same $1099 price. And I don't know if it's still going on. I think it is actually, but you also get 4 games with it too, including like some pretty good ones, like Starfield, which is, hate aside, I think it's a really good game. I liked it quite a bit. Unknown Awakening, which is a game I played on PS5. I thought that game was a lot of fun. I platinumed it. It's a very like PS3, Xbox 360 era, like story-driven linear game. A lot of fun. I liked it. It's, it's not crazy gameplay or anything. It's not going to set the world on fire, but I did enjoy playing it, and there's still a couple other games in there for you as well. So this particular model is really compelling for that $1099 price. So you're only losing between this and the Z2 Extreme model. That's the only difference between these two models, and it's a $250 price break. So you save $250. You do get a Z1 Extreme equivalent chip versus a Z2 Extreme chip, which you're talking about maybe a 10 to 15% difference depending on the game at the higher TDPs. So that could be, depending on the game, that could be 5 FPS, or if it's a game that runs way higher FPS, maybe that's 15 or 20 FPS. But if you're already that high, I don't think that's as big a deal anyway. So if you're running a game that's struggling and that 10% only gets you from 35 to 40 FPS and they're both running in that VRR window, I mean, saving $250 is pretty compelling. And I'm still kind of like mulling over, like, should I go ahead and return my Z2 Extreme model and get this model, because it's pretty compelling. So where would I put this model? I'm gonna put this one in the A tier. But that brings us to the big daddy of all the Legion Go models, the Z2 Extreme, 32 gigabytes of RAM. Absolutely no compromises in terms of like what's currently available on the market. The biggest display out there on a PC handheld, at least in these mainstream ones, 8.8 inches, OLED. It has 32 gigabytes of RAM. It has really good battery life. It has the detachable controllers. It has that new ergonomic design, which I think is I would probably rank it below the Steam Deck. I'd probably rank it below the Xbox ROG Ally devices. I'd probably rank it below the Legion Go S in terms of ergonomics. But then it's probably under there. So it is still fairly nice to hold, but it is very heavy. And depending on how you're holding it, if I'm resting it on my lap, it's not that big a deal. But if I'm like, anytime like you're actually holding it up, if you're using that right stick a lot, if it's a game that utilizes that, which most of the games I play do, I do start to get a lot of hand fatigue and stuff like that. So that's really the biggest drawback of it. Outside of that, there's really not a whole lot of compromises. You could say Windows. I put the Xbox full screen experience on mine, and it is running really good with that. But outside of the price, I think this is the no compromise device, really. Outside of the weight and a few ergonomic issues I have with it, this is like the most immersive. This is like the most like joy in using the screen. It's the most like the HDR on it is absolutely incredible. And I haven't mentioned that yet on any of those other devices. HDR can really make a transformatively big difference in your gameplay experience. And on the Legion Go 2, it'll blow you away, no doubt. So this is absolutely S. Okay, so that brings me to this next model, and this one I have not been able to get my hands on. It has become available here in the last few months at Best Buy, which is pretty cool. It retails in the US for $10.99 US, and it is the MSI Claw A8 AI Plus, the stupidest name ever for a PC handheld. And I think personally, just my personal taste, you might feel different. I think MSI's like design language for their handhelds is like kind of like the ugliest. They're just the ugliest looking devices to me. I don't think they're that appealing looking, but some of the other ones they have, like the Claw A8. This one I think does look nice enough, especially with that newer white color. I think is a little bit more appealing to me. But when this device came out, it kind of got, kind of put through the ringer and kind of got trashed and kind of trampled on a little bit, because this is running Intel's Arc graphics, instead of like your, typical your Z2s and Z2Es and all that kind of stuff. So, and when it came out, it wasn't performing all that well. But over this last year, with constant quiet updates, they've really improved this PC handheld to be one of the top performers on the market. And because of that, it's going to go pretty high on this list, even though I personally haven't had hands-on with it. When I look at the device, it looks, ergonomic enough. I would probably kind of put it below the more ergonomics, like below the Legion Go S, below the Xbox ROG Ally, maybe even below the Legion Go 2. I'm not 100% sure. I don't expect it to be nearly as heavy as the Legion Go 2. At least I wouldn't think so. But it does have an 8-inch 120 hertz display. It does have the VRR support as well. It has really kind of quietly become a monster of performance. So I don't personally have hands-on with it, so I can't say it's like S tier level, but I feel pretty comfortable in putting it in the A tier. Okay, so that brings us to the one that started it all, the Steam Deck. So the Steam Deck LCD is still being sold today for $399 for the 256 gigabyte model in the US. Now, 256 gigs, that is not a lot of storage, but that is a really great price. If you snagged one over Black Friday weekend, they were going for $320, which is just an absolute steal, because there are just tons and tons of games that are available on Steam that you can play on the Steam Deck LCD. In my opinion, has the best ergonomics of any device. I don't understand why any of these other PC handheld makers have not copied the ergonomics of it. Whenever it first came out, the thumbsticks being at the top and the buttons and the D-pad being, beside them, a lot of people thought that was like dumb and unintuitive or uncomfortable, or, they didn't like it or whatever. But actually using it and using these other PC handhelds, I think Valve nailed it. I think this is the best design for something that you're holding in your hands. These other ones that keep putting that stick, it's Nintendo's fault. I blame Nintendo for this, putting the buttons like so low on the right side of these handhelds. That on Nintendo devices, starting with the Switch, they put the stick directly below the buttons. That is the dumbest and like biggest consequential decision that is still permeating the gaming handheld market, and I'm quite sick of it, and I hate Nintendo for it. But that's beside the point. Let's get back to the device that we're looking at here, the Steam Deck LCD. Again, it's going to be, it's not going to be performant. It's not going to have the best screen available. It's got big old chunky bezels. It's only 7 inches. So for all of those reasons, I would put it maybe a little higher than you might expect, really just because of the support from Valve and the sheer number of these that are on the market. They're going to get support before any other PC handheld is going to get support. So for those reasons, I'm going to put that in the C tier. Steam Deck OLED. Recently on the channel, I called it the king with a crown. King of PC handhelds, and I kind of believe that it is. Starting at $549, it is the by far cheapest PC handheld you can get that has both OLED and HDR, and in many games it is completely transformative. So if you haven't seen that Steam Deck OLED video, there's an example I show in there specifically with Dying Light the Beast, where I've tried that on other PC handhelds, and you can go back on the channel. There's tons of videos of that show Dying Light the Beast running on these, and I couldn't put my finger on it, but I kind of stumbled upon it. Like I had an epiphany, like while I was like live recording the video, of like, it's the HDR that really makes like Dying Light the Beast stand out on the Steam Deck OLED versus the Legion Go 1 or Legion Go S or some of these other PC handhelds where I would be like, I'm going to play it here. Now, of course, I do have a Legion Go 2, so I'm probably going to gravitate toward that a little bit more, unless I'm doing something where I'm holding it. Maybe I'm in bed and I don't want to hold that Legion Go 2 up because it's just, heavy and fatiguing. I might grab the Steam Deck in that situation. But Dying Light the Beast is a really great example of how HDR can really transform your experience and make you feel like you're having a more immersive and better experience than you are on a device that might be technically running it better. So Steam Deck OLED, in my opinion, really great device. As far as the tier list goes, I do have to knock it down a few notches because the chip is becoming dated. Of course, it's a few years old. Valve really wants this to be, or at least they have presented it as like a console-like handheld device. So I think they are trying to look at longer life cycles, which I think is really great. I think that benefits the player tremendously. I think we're still a few years off from a new Steam Deck, which is totally fine by me. I just bought a Steam Deck OLED and I'm totally pleased with the purchase. I'm not, feel like I got cheated out of it or not disappointed with it really in any way. And again, I have the expectations that, I'm not going to play, Avatar, like one of the most technically difficult games to play on it, which is just not a big deal to me. So Steam Deck OLED, I'm going to throw that one in the B tier. Okay, so that's pretty much all the mainstream handheld PCs that are on the market here in the US. I did want to do one bonus PC handheld because I feel like it could come to the US at any time. I'm really not sure why it hasn't. And that is another MSI device. This is the Claw A8. This is the one with that like really bright green shell. I think there's another variant that has white on it, but it's running the Z2 Extreme. It has an 8-inch display, 120 hertz, has VRR support, has 32 gigabytes of RAM, is lightweight, has a ergonomic-ish design. I don't really know what's going on with all the angles. I really don't know what MSI is doing, their design team. What are y'all doing? Like, you need to go back to the drawing board because these devices are hideously ugly. And all the angles on this don't look nice to hold. I have seen some videos of it where people said that it feels cheap, it feels chintzy, and for the price that they're going for, again, it's not available in the US, so I really can't quote a price, but I would imagine it would be in that range where the Claw 8 AI Plus is, $1,100, $1,000, $1,200, something in that range for sure. But if I were to, having never touched it, just kind of, basically what I've seen performance-wise and what I've seen from people's videos and impressions from people, I would go ahead and throw that one in the C tier. All right, so there you have it. This is my 2025 PC handheld tier list. What do you guys think about it? Please let me know in the comments down below. Hey, if you like these type of videos, please subscribe to the channel. We are trying to hit 1,000 by the end of the year, so if you would hit subscribe, that would be absolutely awesome. I would super appreciate it. For those that want to help support what I do, there are memberships available. You get early access to videos, priority commenting, and access to a private Discord. So if you would like to do that, super appreciate it as well. But hey, thank you guys so much for watching, and we'll see you in the next one. No weird outtakes today. I did this all pretty much in one shot. Let's go!